Okay, Dad. I thought I would try and think about some ways that I could break stuff down to give you a few tips. Sorry. So, first one is going to be loadouts, and I think why sometimes you were saying you put in a lot of bullets into people, or how you might just tweak your aiming just to give you a better advantage. So, at the minute, this was the last gun I was using on Friday, so this is the 545. So, can I get to my gun? I'll go through the ones that I prefer the best. I don't think I can get into the gunsmith here, so I'll go through that in a minute. So what you want to be doing is, as you're walking around, blah blah blah. So there's my target. Boom. Okay, so get some practicing because it takes like a bit of practice. But what you're doing is you're getting used to the recoil balance on this gun, and then you change into another one, and you'll see in a minute all the guns are different. They are all fire differently. So whatever way you get your eye in to adjust to how quickly this locks on, you change in and you try to readjust, and it's hard to do. It takes like probably 3 or 4 games to get back used to a gun. So if you keep chopping and changing, you're going to find it hard to be consistent with your shots. The other thing, by the sound of what you're doing, is if I'm not aiming down the sights, my aim is very loose and it moves around. As soon as I get into this, it slows down an awful lot. Yeah, so I can control it much better. Okay, so I think you're probably seeing a target and going, oh! So you've used pretty much a full clip, and I was kind of lucky enough to get that, but you wafting all around here. And what happens when you start firing like that and then trying to get on target? You're trying to adjust between this moving smoothly and this. So two different, completely different paces. So if I move across here like this, I can pretty much gauge roughly the speed of that. But if I try and do it and then aim in as well, I get these big jumps where I'm zooming in, and it can be really disorientating. So take your time. The other thing is, if you're aiming in straight away, you see a target like this, that's very, very slow, and it's very, very hard to manage. So the other thing is, the first part of your clip is 90% on all the weapons the most effective. There's the least recoil. It's the easiest to control. After that first few bullets, your recoil really kicks in. So if you're wasting them firing before you get on target, there's a good chance that you're going to only be hitting limbs and torso, which do less damage, than getting them upper torso or head. So even if you see someone, if you fire too early and you don't get on target, one, you're telling them that you're there, and two, when you do get on target, your bullets are going to do less damage, and it's going to be much harder to get on target. So there's a good chance you're seeing someone over here, you're aiming, firing here, okay, and then you got to reload. So if you are going to aim down and move, wait until you get on target, fire. And then the other thing you might be doing is you might not even be aiming down sight, and you might just be hip firing. So you see them fire. So when you're saying you put a clip into them, it probably means you've used a clip, but technically if you fire in like that, you can see, I'll do it again, the bullets just fly everywhere. So I'm trying to kind of balance the recoil while firing. So whichever methods that you're doing, or maybe it's a combination of a few of these, I don't know. I'm just trying to run across different options. Ideally, you just need to be a little bit more disciplined on the trigger, because if you start firing before you get to the target, one, you're telling them where you are, and two, you're wasting the best part of your gun and you're burning through bullets. So technically, get on target, aim, fire, aim, fire. Okay, because if I do it any other way like this, it's much, much, much more difficult. So even if I I did alright there, but I still only got to 2 targets and I needed to reload. That's so I haven't reloaded yet. There. So technically, there's 1.5 if I do it the other way. I can get 6 if I'm careful with my shots. It doesn't always work like that, 'cause you've got to, you know, you panic and you're going to fire lots of bullets all over the place. But the best way I find to do it is hip fire to snap. So, because if you do see someone, you panic and fire. If you are going to hip fire, snap. So, and the difference with that is if you aim down sight and fire early, you have to move really, really slowly. And by that time, you're going to definitely be dead. But if you are going to fire that way, you still... So this is, I'm going to go left to right with firing. And then this is just hip fire fire. So you can still see you've got this fast movement when you're not aimed down sight. As soon as you aim down sight, your speed slow down. So if you're firing early while you're aimed down sight and trying to get on target, it's going to be slow. So ideally you don't fire, and when you do get fire, you fire. But if you are firing before you get there, at least hip fire, because you'll find the target. The other thing is come on the firing range and move between the targets. So if I shoot here, so that's pretty good. I have mine set up quite well. But if you're finding you're doing this, so you're hitting the first target and then aiming over. Oh, 1 second, because I messed that up. It's quite hard to fake this when I know where it is. So shoot one, and if I'm over here, that means my sensitivity is way too high. Whereas if I shoot here and I feel like I'm aiming in here and then trying to get on target, then it's too slow. So if it's consistently either you're shooting past and then having to readjust, or slowing down here and then having to readjust. So if it flies past the target consistently, turn your sensitivity down. And if you end up here, like by default, and then trying to get on target, then you need to turn it up a little bit. And that's kind of just how best way to sort your sensitivity out. Okay, so that's aiming in general. So I'll leave that one with you. So if you've got any questions, give me a shout.